What's up, everybody? This is Cam Hand, the Fantasy Man, coming at you early this election day. I thought I'd just crank this out early. I got to work a little early so I could film this in the nation's capital on election day. I would tell you guys to go vote, but I, really don't care if you go vote. But let's get into it. I'm starting to do a weekly shout out. This was inspired a little bit by Doug, I would say, because he texted me. He's like, and every once in a while, Doug will text me. He'll be like, hey, you got to shout out this person for this person for that. And I'm going to give the weekly shout out to Dylan because I heard that he stopped Randy, and Brandon on a 2-on-1, sealing the deal for the tie, sending the whatever your guys' name is, the pickles or the eggplants or something, Hot Mess Express, I don't know what it is, but sealing the deal for your guys' berth into the playoffs. I'm sure you would have gone anyway, but still, that was a huge move. I'm sure Will was pretty bummed out. Will probably had to console Randy and Brandon, enemy number 1 and 2, after the game. But huge stop by Dylan. I can imagine it. I'm sure it was super awesome. So shout out to Dylan. I just wanted to put up these announcements. We got the football matchup coming Sunday, November 24th. And as we talked about, Will is basically just demeaning everybody in the league, talking poorly about everybody in the league except Hunter and Doug. So I feel like we got to show up and show out and show Will what we're made of. We also got the ski trip I'm planning for Martin Luther King Day weekend, January 17th through the 21st. It's about $200 right now to fly on Frontier. And and we'll get big time discounts from Logan presumptively. So stay tuned for that. But I will be going, and I would love for you guys to come too. But best matchup was me and Preston. I'm really, really hurting about this matchup right now. I'm really upset about it because I had felt like I was going to win. I need to turn my do not disturb on. I felt like I was going into it confident throughout the week or throughout the Sunday. I felt pretty good, but then at the end, before Monday night, it was looking bleak. But then I literally, like Kate Otten was popping off touchdown. But so I thought I was going to win. But then Patrick Mahomes just wouldn't stop scoring touchdowns. It was Patrick Mahomes' best week that won Preston the week. And I was super bummed about it. Kate Otten dropped a touchdown in overtime, I believe, or in the fourth quarter that would have won me it as well. So it was hard. This was probably the toughest loss of the year for me. I'm very upset about it. But I can really only blame myself because I played stupid Michael Pittman, and then Marvin Harrison's just boom or bust. And so, anyway, worst matchup was Sam versus Dylan. Not important. It was absolute obliteration by Dylan. Not too bad of injuries this week. Broker had Olave, I think, or somebody had Olave get injured. Somebody had London get injured. I don't know. I thought Doug's A.J. Brown injury and then also the Brian Robinson injury. Brian Robinson didn't play. I thought that was pretty bad, so I gave it to Doug. Most unlucky Doug, I guess, just because the injury luck. I don't. It was nobody really got that unlucky this week. No injury kept anybody from winning. Nobody had a super high score in a win other than Bobby, or in a loss. Bobby had a high score in a loss, but I'm not gonna give Bobby most unlucky because he deserves everything that is coming to him. So Doug, just by default, I guess. Most lucky, we're gonna give it to Greg. Lowest points in a win. He also has a big, he got Tillman and he got Brown. I'm assuming nobody else waiver claimed Chase Brown. Maybe they did, but Greg got pretty lucky by picking up or getting those two. Obviously, great move, but the fact that nobody else really claimed Brown or Tillman was pretty lucky on Greg's part. But I just saw Khalil Herbert got traded to Cincinnati. So maybe that'll take away a little bit from Chase Brown, but probably not. Dumbest move, we're going to go to Sam. He started Dontavius Wicks, who hasn't really been good, the last like 4 or 5 weeks. And he's also just not doing anything. I could have given myself dumbest move for playing Pittman, but Flacco is back is a good matchup for him. I mean, I beat myself up, but what are you going to do? But I think Sam playing Dontavius Wicks was a pretty dumb play, and then also um, him just not doing anything in general, of course, is always stupid. Smartest move I'm going to give to Preston. Nobody else probably noticed it, but he handled his flex. He just handled his lineup beautifully this week. He rid with Mahomes, which worked out for him. He picked up and played Ray, who got him 12 points. Shepard was questionable on Monday night, and so he decided not to go with Shepard. That was the right play, even though Shepard had 10 points, but that was the right play. He had Deontay in the flex. Deontay barely even played, Deontay Johnson. But, a lot of people a lot of worse players out there would have played Deontay, I think. And, Preston didn't, and he stayed up to date and he made a really good trade, I think. So I think Preston um, played a good week this week. And I think he made some smart moves. Again, he just handled his flex spot beautifully, rode with Mahomes, and then, made a good trade. I think it's worth the recognition. Best free agent move. I'm going to retroactively give it to Tillman or Greg for Tillman. Honorary mention Hunter and Quentin Johnston. I do think Quentin Johnston is a boomer bust guy, but maybe not. But I'm giving it to Greg because he deserved it last week for Tillman. I think Tillman's that guy. So Greg's getting best free agent move. Stock rising is Preston. 3 wins in a row. He potentially fleeced Will. And if you look at his team, it looks good. So, and I also, talking trades with Preston, I think he's probably going to fleece somebody else. I really think that's going to happen before week 10, the trade deadline. So I would say Preston's stock is definitely rising while Bobby's stock, while admittedly super low always, is continuing to fall. He's not watching my videos. 2 losses in a row. I have no faith in him being able to turn his team around because he doesn't care. So I would just Bobby stock falling. I mean, that's an easy one. Dylan, best player, 182 points. That's all you got to say. Um, that's really all you got to say. Worst player, we're going to go with Will. Lowest score, traded for and played ETN, which is super dumb to trade for and play ETN. So yeah, worst player. I mean, but he also, no matter what you think about the trade he made, he still scored the least amount of points this week, so you got to give him worst player. Dylan, he had that dog. I mean, Dylan put up 182, smashed Sam, smashed him, and also got a massive stop on Randy and Brandon, like we talked about before, just a 2-on-1. I think Doug might have even said a 3-on-1, maybe. I don't know. But nevertheless, it was a massive stop. So that's just the definition of dog. I mean, Dylan's 9-0. I mean, we could give this to him every week that he wins. Season segments, we got the rankings here. Dylan stays atop. Matt, the scores are a little bit higher, or at least Dylan's is. I forgot to add last week. I forgot to add the streak. Like I give a point if you win 2 games in a row, like an extra point. So like Dylan's won 9 in a row, so 2, 4, 6, 8. So he gets an extra 4 points. I think that's important to give people points and deduct them if they're on losing streaks or winning streaks. Anyway, so that's why you see that, and just people flip flopping around. 3 people at the top, always the same, kind of the same 4 people at the bottom: me, Greg, Will, Sam. But Preston making a jump from 8 to 6, I think it's fair, and Bobby going from 6 to 7, I think that's fair as well. We got Dabs going on here. We got Bobby. He started an injured player in Dynasty. So this is the 3rd week in a row that Bobby has started an injured player in one of the 2 leagues. I get it's not in this league, but still bad. And I said from the beginning of the season, I'm giving Dabs for Dynasty. So that's for Bobby, 60 Dabs. Bobby for continuing, he's just continuing to start people who are injured. He's not making any changes He's not being remorseful. He did say like a half-hearted apology over Sleeper the other day, but it was half-hearted. He needs to come out and just say, "Hey guys, sorry, I'm changing my ways. I'm locked in," and he's not doing it. So that's really the worst offense, in my opinion, is he's just continuing his lack of caring about fantasy, and there's seemingly no end to it. So 100 dabs. Um, Bobby for not putting T. Okay, not putting T slash using. Yeah, Bobby's not using his IR spot basically. 50 dabs. Hunter and Doug and Matt for not getting to the bottom of this thing. I mean, I'm going to keep giving them that. I mean, Hunter, Bobby, and Doug are, or Hunter, Doug, and Matt are the three people most equipped to get to the bottom of what's going on with Bobby. I call them, I talk to them, we talk, what's going on with Bobby? They're all like, I don't know what's going on with Bobby. They're like, I don't know, it's weird. And I'm like, Hunter, you're his brother, you're the commissioner. Doug talks to him a lot. Matt lives with them, I'm pretty sure. You guys got to get to the bottom of this thing. It's like, what is going on? Nobody has any answers. It's just weird. Um, 3 dabs. Hunter for losing a single sock in the kitchen. 1 dab. I was told, and it was confirmed, that Hunter took his sock off in the kitchen and lost it. Just one sock. That's weird. I was. He did claim that he was icing his foot, so that would sort of explain the one sock thing. But I don't know. It deserved 1 dab because it was questionable. Hunter called this cat in the right corner. He didn't call it ugly. He said it looked like Satan or something. I mean, that's a cute cat. So you got to give him dabs for that. 2 dabs. Hunter for not knowing that Bobby started an injured player last week. 10 dabs. On the phone with Hunter on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, Hunter was like, "Wait a second, what? Bobby started an injured player?" This was when Bobby started somebody injured last week. Anyway, it was in the redraft. Hunter's the commissioner, and he didn't even realize until I told him on Monday that Bobby, again, was being crazy and starting people who weren't playing. So you got to give Hunter daps for that. You got to be more in touch with your league. Hunter for saying, I mean, this is a more general thing. Um, Greg complained to me that he was texting Hunter. He texted Hunter, "Hey, would you be interested in a trade?" Hunter was like, "Yes, I'm super interested in trade," and then just never responds back to Greg. And I think in general, Hunter has kind of gotten to the point where he's not someone you can trade with. His response to messages and his evaluation of players, but mainly his response to texts, is pretty unreliable. So if you text them, you're like, "Hey, you want to trade?" Even if he's interested, he's not going to be able to string together enough texts in a row to make a trade happen. So I'm giving Hunter 9 dabs for that. But primarily, yeah, he was texting Greg and said he was interested in trade, and then he just ghosted Greg on that trade. That's dabs. Will for sniffing Tyler's used bowling shoes. 5 dabs. Heard that happened. I believe that. Will for, and this could be Doug propaganda because I kind of find it hard to believe, but Will has only ever had a cotton candy blizzard from Dairy Queen. That's weird. Like have a M&M or like a Reese's or like a real man's blizzard. Like a cotton candy blizzard is the only one you've ever had. That's 6 dabs. Will for straight faced saying that he is watching Vampire Diaries. 4 dabs. I don't give Will dabs for watching Vampire Diaries because I've watched them. I haven't watched Vampire Diaries, but I've watched some stuff. Like I watch Dancing with the Stars right now, but I would never tell somebody about the show as if it was normal that I was watching the show. When you tell somebody you're watching Vampire Diaries, you have to preface it by, "I know it's weird," or "Yeah, I know it's funny, but it's actually a good show. It's a good show, believe it or not." You don't go in there and just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm watching Vampire Diaries," like it's sick. Like you got to preface it like that it's weird that you're watching it, and then you can tell them it's good. So again, I'm not giving Will dabs for watching Vampire Diaries. I'm giving him dabs for not realizing that it's weird to be watching Vampire Diaries. 4 dabs. Will for talking so much trash about ETN and then literally trading for him at his lowest point. 1 dab. I get there are other factors in that trade, but Will was ETN's biggest hater, and now he's on his team. I mean, that's dabs. Will for being way too overconfident in his speed slash overvaluing speed. This really goes into the discussions we had about the lists he made about the athletic lists, the sports lists that he made, and everything came down to for him. Well, I'm faster. Hunter's fast. Everything in Will's mind that has to do with athleticism is speed. It's not about hand-eye coordination to Will. It's not about strength. It's not about like jumping ability. It's not about mental game. It's all speed. If you're fast, you're athletic in Will's mind, it seems like. And then also he's overvalued. Like he didn't even run the fastest 40. And he's sitting here saying he's so fast. He would run in circles around everybody. So yeah, I would say I don't give him that many dabs because you got to be confident about your own abilities, but you're like there's more to athleticism and playing sports than just speed. And also, Will's not even the fastest guy in the league. That's proven. So, and even he runs like his 40's like a second faster than mine. He's not even that much faster than me, and I'm slow. So anyway, Will just overvalue, just way overhyping his own speed and the importance of speed in sports. Obviously, speed's very important in sports, but it's not the end all be all like Will seems to think it is. And then Will, he made a horrendous sports list. So literally everyone hated it except Hunter, I think, three dabs. There was not a single person in any of the lists or there's not a single person that looked at the lists that he made and were like, oh, that's legit. It was pretty off. Broker, for acting like he's not washed when in college he admitted to no longer being good at basketball. So the backstory here is that Cameron Broker, and this is why I find it hard to rank him in athletic rankings because I think he's washed, and because because in high school, Cameron Broker, great basketball player, for example, great at things, great basketball player. That was like his claim to fame was how good he was at basketball. And then in college, when the last time I saw him, when he was in college, he was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm not good anymore." He admitted to me, he's like, "I'm not good at basketball anymore. I've lost it. I'm just not good." And so I'm like, "Wow, that's kind of why I say Cameron Broker's washed. Is he lost his basketball skill from high school to college. And then you also have to imagine he's gained a few pounds. I mean, who hasn't? We all slowed down a little bit, except for Will, apparently. I've gained my weight. Everybody's gained. You got to imagine that he's a little washed. And I think that he deserves dabs here because he's claiming to not at all be washed. But again, 6 years ago when I saw him last, he would tell me that he's washed. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Dylan for posting a screenshot of his fantasy win on Snapchat, 10 dabs. And then Greg for starting Caleb Williams. That was a terrible start, 2 dabs. Preston is most annoying this week. If you were to just look at our text from last night, it was just ridiculous. I'd show you, but there's whatever. He just was like, "Oh, you're gonna win." Like there was never any chance I was gonna win that game, and he just kept kind of gaslighting me and to be like, "Dude, you've got this. Like, all you have to do is get like 40 more points from K Dot, and then if Mahomes like tears his ACL, then you'll probably maybe win." And I'm like, dude, it was a very frustrating conversation. And I had Bobby on here as most annoying, but after last night, Preston just really annoyed me with just the way he beat me, the way he went about beating me was very annoying. And just his texting of like acting like he was afraid that he was going to lose was just too much. Updated rankings there. We got Dylan taking the lead on dog, 3 dogs, Bobby at 5 dabs. And I said this over sleeper, but if I can't give Bobby, I'm just gonna give Bobby like I can't keep giving him the most dabs because it's obvious every week Bobby's gonna get the most dabs, and it's not gonna be fun. I mean, he got 162 this week, so I'm just gonna start ignoring Bobby. And I'll make a reference to, yeah, Bobby should have gotten the most dabs this week, but I can't just keep giving Bobby all the dabs. It's just ridiculous. Greg versus Hunter next week. pivotal moments for both of them, rivalry game. I do expect Hunter to win. Now let's get into random rankings. We got some interesting ones here. As I had mentioned, it is election day today. And so I had this guy in the right corner here. His name is Logan as well. Works in Congress for a congressman. I know him here, and he's a very political fella. And I was like, look, I sent him all those pictures in the bottom left, and I said, and I sent him a picture of Hunter. And I said, based off how these people look, how do you think they're voting? And I actually think he got it dead on. If you look at Matt, number one, he thinks that Matt will be voting for Kamala because his girlfriend would break up with him. From what I know about Matt, I feel like that's pretty accurate. I feel like Matt probably got like a mail-in ballot, and his girlfriend was sitting there, and she was like, "You better vote for Kamala." And he maybe he didn't really want to, maybe he did. I don't know Matt that well, but anyway, I thought that was pretty good. Ashton, Kamala, because of Project 2025. Um, what he's referring to here is, there's a controversial thing called Project 2025 that is a reason for a lot of people to vote for Kamala, and he thinks that that's Ashton's reasoning behind that. Broker looks like an RFK guy. I could buy that. Will, I mean, especially in that picture, if you look at the picture of Will right there, I mean, he looks like a trucker. You could see why he would think Trump. I apparently look like a white guy for Kamala. Bobby is voting for Kamala because he's pro-Zin. I don't even, I guess maybe Kamala is more pro-Zin than Trump, but if that's true, I would think that Bobby would vote for her because of that reason. Dylan, I mean, look at Dylan's picture there. I mean, he looks about as Trump as it gets. Greg looks extremely Trump right there in that picture. I think this is very accurate. Trump, like Doug, I definitely would say looks, and if I had to guess, is voting for Trump, but he's going to tell people he's voting for Kamala. I could see that. Preston in that photo looks like a white guy for Harris, similar to me. Sam, I mean, obvious, just looks like a Kamala guy. And then Hunter looks like a Trump, but he doesn't really want to. And, from what I know, I feel like Hunter's probably going Kamala, but I could also see Hunter voting for Trump and just begrudgingly, because his parents, I think they vote Republican. And so Hunter could, be influenced and just be like, oh, like I'm doing it, but he doesn't really want to. Anyway, I felt like those were great. I don't know. I felt like those were super accurate by my political expert. All right, we'll do this one more time, just because it did get a lot of people talking. But football rankings, according to Doug, these rankings are much better than Will's. There's no doubt about it. He has me above Sam and Bobby. Actually, he did. Doug did text me an updated list. Let me look at this real quick. Doug. Dude, he's sending me devs. Okay, this is the updated list. Ashton, Doug, which is crazy. Here, let me go like this. Ashton, Doug, Preston, number 3. I don't know why Doug would think he would be better than Preston. That makes no sense to me. Will, Dylan, Broker could be top 2. Doug's with me on this because Broker's hard to. I need to see a physical and I need to see his 40 time because who knows. Greg 7, Hunter 8. Wow, he really shot Hunter down a lot. But me at 9, I'll take that. Matt, Sam, Bobby. I don't know why Doug insists on putting Andrew in this. We all know Andrew's last. I don't know why Doug continues to put, like, he sent me Andrew on all of the sports he ranked, and I just took him out. But I feel like that's a pretty good list. So that's that. He moved me up, so that's good. Soccer rankings, according to Doug. Will, okay. Hunter, okay. Doug, okay. Greg, okay. Dylan, Cameron Broker, me, 7. Ashton, 8. Preston's being undervalued there. Not by I don't personally think Preston's that good at soccer, but he thinks he is, so 9. Bobby, 10. Doug has a realistic expectation of Bobby here, which I love, because Will was like putting him top 5, and it was just crazy. Matt and then Sam. Basketball rankings according to Doug, and he gave me like some. That's the last one. Preston, he said, was dominant in the post, can shoot. Ashton's athletic, he can shoot as well. I think the difference between Preston and Ashton is that Ashton's like a quitter. He quit on our basketball team multiple times. Ashton not nearly as good of a team player as Preston. Also not nearly as good defensively as Preston. I would say that's the difference between them is Preston's defensive prowess and also just Preston's team play and mental game. Because Ashton's mental game and team play are suspect. Broker, I mean, again, he was in Capital elite at pickup, but it's hard to say with him. We need to see some measurables. For Cameron, I'm slow, but can hit a shot, and I got a nice jump hook, which is true. And I'm also, I would say, a good team player. I move the ball, good team player. I can get a good. I'm just overall solid, I think. Dylan, clunky, but it works. Doug, Doug's good. I think Doug's a great basketball player. He's got that dog in basketball, which is just something I don't have. He plays super hard, elite rebounder. Good passer, can hit a shot. No, Doug's good. Matt is big. Greg is just your typical pest. Hunter tries. Will, speed isn't everything. This is Doug is writing this, by the way, not me. Will, speed isn't everything, Doug thinks, and I agree. There we go. I was just saying that. And then Sam and Bobby. So anyway, that is the list here. Controversial stuff, but I like Doug's rankings much better. This is the guy right here that we're saying is number one in football. Look at Doug here. Why is he even trying to dunk? It's crazy. All right, guys. Well, I will talk to you later. Just, another good quick reminder that we got football matchup coming up and the ski trip. So mark those down on your calendars. But let's have a good election day. I don't know. I guess that's all